And the thing that occurred to me is that there are now things happening in other industries that consumers are expecting from the industry in which they're in. So they may have a great experience, let's say in the banking sector, ease of use on an app, pre-filled forms, that now, of course, they want in the healthcare sector.
Mm-hmm.
And what you highlighted, I think, so well is this concept of I have legacy systems, they're not interoperable.
Mm-hmm.
I've got vendor sprawl, right? I've bolted on too many systems. I can't see the integration point, and that's making life hard. But I equally don't want to waste the spend and replace nor rip. And I think what we've seen at Intellistack is an opportunity. Literally, a client said to me this the other day, you're the paper mache and glue. Like, that's an interesting way to describe our software. But he said, seriously, the data layer, which is layer one, acts as a layer across any systems that are systems of record.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take the data and place it into data sets on a data fabric, a flexible data fabric, right? I always think of it like a patchwork quilt.
Mm-hmm.
And what we realized is that workflow and orchestration is of no use unless you can pull in the data. Because what's a workflow without data?
Mm-hmm.
And we changed the name of the company when we added through acquisition this data layer for management and activation, because it makes the workflow ignite. What I think is now critical, and when you think about your vendor relationships like us, are we also building in a third layer, right? So data management and activation, workflow orchestration. And the third layer is, can we build in system orchestration predictability?
Mm-hmm.
Where an agent-to-agent approach means that the power of AI, machine learning, small or constrained language models can build predictability so that either the human or the system can be warned if something isn't working right.
And I think that's where our partnership really shines, because we bring that industry domain expertise.
Exactly.
That subject matter expertise, that understanding the business process, whether it's a carrier, an MGA, a wholesale broker, a program administrator,
Got
and
it.
how they can access these, great technologies that other industries have had so much success with, and how do we bring those to really adopt those for insurance? And I think that's what really creates a lot of value with this partnership. So,
And look, I think you're totally right. We're not vertically focused. We
Mhm.
deliberately set out to build a horizontal platform where partners like you then do exactly what you said, domain expertise. We provide the tools, you provide the domain expertise, and therefore the added value that we couldn't bring to customers like yours without you.
Yeah. And one of the other areas that I've seen a lot of success with, and it sort of talks about the vendor sprawl in a little bit of a different way, but the fact that we have such an integrated partnership that we can implement and deliver the solutions that and the software that you provide and sort of do it under one contract is excellent, because every organization is looking for more trusted vendors, more solid strategic partners rather than the vendor sprawl that was mentioned. And the fact that we can sort of work together like that is actually a lot of value for insurance organizations.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, so one of the clients that we're actually working very closely on reached out to me a few weeks ago and said, look, I have my policy systems in place. Everything is kind of running the way I want it to, but I'm having some challenges on forms or document generation, right? And I'm looking for a better way to solve that problem. So that's where we brought in Intellistack. And so what I told the client was, give us 2 weeks, give us a couple of your policy documents, and the guys at Intellistack are going to be able to put that through their machine and be able to actually demo to you within 2 weeks what your document generation process is going to look like. And so we were able to do that. And ultimately, within a 2 week period, essentially show this is not just a demo of what could be, this is their actual data. This is their actual policy document. So I think really that rapid prototyping that you mentioned is so instrumental, not during just a delivery, but it's showing the art of the possible of what organizations can achieve. So. And we've already started to identify some really good areas that we're going to partner along policy submissions. So
Right.
when requests for submissions are first coming in through the door for agents and MGAs, and then those quotes need to be put out the door quickly, right? Because this is reputation and it's speed of business for agents and brokers. That becomes a real key area where, Intellistack can provide speed to market options during the policy submission and quoting process,
Yep.
as well as looking at the claims intake process, right? Again, claims are a huge area where we need to be quicker, faster, more efficient as an organization. There's, major things that are happening and folks need to get their claims addressed and resolved. So working on that claims intake process and making sure that they're streamlined and efficient ways, and Intellistack has been able to start looking at those. So between the policy submissions and the claims intake, those are two key areas that we see a lot of value.
It talks to a little bit, Rahul, as to why we changed the name of the company from FormStack to Intellistack. We did feel that calling it the company that was trying to be a business orchestration, faster workflow company, a stack of forms didn't seem like the right idea. So FormStack to a more intelligent stack made sense. And I do want to say, sometimes clients just need simple solutions. They just need pre-filled forms. They just need those forms to be able to move to documents and those documents to be signed. Sometimes the workflow is that simple and all of the management of data and the predictability is not needed. And so there's a simplicity in what we do, which sometimes we forget is just what the client needs when they bridge into the digital world. And we're spending so much time thinking about the bridge from digital to the AI world that we actually forget there's a bunch of this stuff on paper.
Yeah. And that's where the value is, right? It's the biggest incremental value will be gained and achieved by moving to that next level. And I think that's where Intellistack really provides some amazing solutions that, going back to the beginning of, our discussion, is ripping and replacing your systems isn't always the right answer. It really is looking at where those bigger challenges exist within the workflows and how do you get the right solution to respond to the right outcome. So
I see four things, no matter the vertical: lowering of risk, and I know you know this, lowering of risk, lowering of cost, significant degrees of efficiency or automation improvement, and the experience both internally and externally for the customer. You touch on one of those four, you could wrap it all around the concept of brand. You're hovering over any target area for any customer today. And it is, as you say, usually a bridge from paper to digital transformation itself, and then an eye to the future as to how agentic or generative flows can actually make a real difference in predicting how we get to those outcomes that I just mentioned.
yeah. And what's been great about Intellistack's involvement with some of our clients is each of those clients, we've identified one area that we've started to help them and sort of modernize their business. And each of those clients now has multiple areas that they've seen so much value with that first foot in the door. And now they're starting to look at where else within their workflows Intellistack can actually offer solutions. So it really shows the ability for you guys to not only scale, but the adoption has been amazing, right? Organizations can adopt these solutions and can start to see where else they really fit the cart. So that's been great. And I think this is just the beginning of a journey for us in terms of really looking at what core partnerships, we focus on, which ones we see the most value for our clients and for the organization and for the industry, I would say. And we have really identified Intellistack as one of those that we're sort of partnering with hand in hand to go to market for our clients and where our clients see us as trusted advisors.
Thank you for the partnership. I always think that the two most underspoken words in business are thank you. We forget to be grateful for all the work that you do on our behalf and our responsibility humbly to make sure that we're responsive and supportive to your clients when you need us to be, either through you or directly to them if that's what you want. So I hope that you'll find us always very fast and very supportive. And I would add one last thing from my perspective. One of our values is to wow the customer. And we talk a lot about what does wow mean? Easy to say, but what does it truly, truly mean? And it is about shifting relationships from being customers to clients. And for me, ultimately, what strategic relationships mean, and that is, no matter what our respective sizes, we would both be a little less without one another. I
Absolutely.
hope, therefore, that our partnership becomes strategic, that without each other, we would be less. And that to me is really what strategic partnering simply means.
Absolutely. We've appreciated the partnership. Now it's been a few years, and I feel like we're at that inflection point in our journey where we are really becoming strategic in terms of how we help service the clients that we have, where we will. And I think the biggest thing that I'm excited about is how we start to really bring true solutions to the insurance industry, which is ripe for needing really good solutions like Intellistack. And for us to be able to provide that, I mean, it's a privilege and an honor. So thank you.
Well, thank you all, and I wish you ongoing success.